All right, in this video, I'm going to show you the reason why most beginners quit before they even hit their first 5K a month. And if you're doing less than 5K a month, this video will probably save you from quitting. So make sure to watch it until the end and take notes. All right, so the problem when starting out is that the whole effort versus result chart looks like this, okay? So we have the level here, so the level of effort you put in and the level of results you get. And we have the timeline here. So the days that, you put in the effort and you get results at, okay? And the big problem is that in the beginning, you put in, if you do it right, you put in the same effort every single day. Normally, this chart is even a bit higher at like 400 or 600 because you put in a lot of effort in the beginning in order to make it work. But the problem is, as you see, there are no results. So the results are really, really low, and the results are way below the effort you put in. Okay, so you put in more effort, but you get very few and like way too less like results for the effort you put in. Okay, and you see the problem is that this goes on for quite some time. Okay, in this example, it's like for roughly like 80 days or like 100 days before you get the first success and you get the first wins. But this can go on for like 1, 2, or maybe 3 years. Okay, so this chart works for every business and for every type, but like the measurement and everything depends completely on your business and how committed you are. Okay, but it's really important to understand like the main thing here. Okay, the main thing is that in the beginning you just put in work, but you don't get any results, and this is why most people quit at some point. Okay, mostly it's between like 30 and like 50 days where they actually quit because they just put in work and they don't get any results. And with results, I don't mean results like getting your first client, making money. I mean like any kind of feedback, like any results, like getting the first booking, getting like the first people replying to your messages, any kind of results. So most people quit at this point, and then when they start another business model, for example, they start from the beginning again. Then they work for like 50 days and then they start from the beginning again. So it's impossible to win if you follow like this normal cycle that most entrepreneurs follow, right? So essentially, it's pretty simple because you just have to stick to your efforts, just put in the efforts and keep going for 100, 200, 500 days. Because at one point, there will be this one, okay? At one point, there will be a point where the results go up and eventually even go beyond the effort, okay? And at this point here, for example, you start to see results. In the beginning, the results are really, really slow. So you just get the first booking, you get the first people replying to your messages, you get the first, even if they say like, hey, I'm not interested, at least they replied. So you get some feedback and you get some results and you see that you get something back for the effort you put in, okay? And if you then keep doing the results, keep doing the efforts, the results go up. And at one point, you are so far beyond with the results, beyond your effort, that it's worth it, right? And it's not even so that you just put in the same effort every single day, but at some point, you will even have to do only like, I don't know, like you have to put in like less effort to get like better results, okay? So like this gap here becomes bigger and bigger. You get bigger results with doing less effort. And that's the great thing, okay? So this is something that you have to understand, and this is called the frustration zone. So as long as you are like in the zone where you are not getting any results, you are in the frustration zone. And here it's just about like pushing through. And as I said, most beginners quit here. So it's even impossible to hit like 5K if you quit and if you don't like understand this concept. Okay. And now you're asking probably, why is this? So why I'm not able to get results at this stage here? Okay. And there are 3 main reasons. First of all, the skill acquisition lag. So at first you are bad at outreach calls. Your first 200 DMs are practice, not money makers. So even if you put in the work here, you will change something about your script, and this will eventually show up here then, right? Then the pipeline lag. So outreach today doesn't close today. Someone sees your DM, replies the next week and books a call in 2 weeks and signs eventually in 4 weeks. So even if you found something that works for you, like a good script or so right here, they will probably book a call right here. And then they will probably show up in the call right here. And then you will probably close him right here, okay? So it's not only about that you get better in this time. It's also about that it just takes time in order to like have the sales call, make the people show up, close the person, and then probably there's like a month of time where you just put in the work in outreach before you get the first sales call, and then the first sales call is booked like 12 days in the future. And then when you close, the impulse was set here, right? And the last one is like the trust lag. So it compounds again, right? So the content you post today is completely ignored until you have stacked 30 to 60 posts, for example, credibility. Okay, the same one with like the messages you sent. Okay, so not only that you put in the same work, but the same work compounds because you get better at it. And for example, the content compounds because the more you post, the better like the content gets, and the more replies and like comments you will get. Okay, so it will also compound. This will also lead to like this jump here, right? This is really important to understand. But there's one thing that kills like most people when they are like in this frustration zone, okay? And this is their expectation. Okay, so people expect that it goes like this, that they put in the same efforts and then the results get better with time. So they think that even at like the first day, they start to get some kind of like feedback, some kind of results, and then it just gets better and better every single day. They close the client, they make money, and blah, blah, blah. The problem is, in reality, it looks like this. So as you see here, right? It's like an exponential growth. So in the beginning, you get no replies, no feedback, no wins, and then it slowly starts to like stack up. And at one point, there's like this jump, and then it explodes. Okay. And as I said, it's just about like pushing through this zone here, pushing to past like day 60, for example. But in your case, it could be past day 500 or like past day 1000, whatever. Okay. So it's really important that you understand that it's not like a linear growth, but it's like an exponential growth. At one point, it just makes click and then it goes up. Okay. So we can say that the results are just delayed. For every action you take here, the results you get are delayed and they start to show up right here. Okay, but it's really important that you put in the action here, otherwise the results won't show up here, they will only show up here. Okay, but if the results are delayed, where are they hiding? Because they are already there, they are just invisible. Okay, and this is how it really looks. Okay, this is like a better version of this one, because there's one thing I haven't talked about yet. Okay, the steps and also the results are already there, you can just not see them yet. Okay, right? So you put in the work here, but the results, they are already stacking at the back end, but you can't see them because they are just like preparing to show up at the stage where you are out of like the frustration zone, where you hit like this breaking point here, and then they suddenly become like visible. Okay, so you're not falling behind, you are just in the invisible part of the process. You're just putting in the work, you don't see results, but every action you take already leads to a result and already like enables a process that compounds in order to make the results visible. Okay, so this is also really important to understand, that the results are already there, you just cannot see them yet. You can only see the work you put in, like the flat line, but not the results here. Okay, and the 90-day rule is that don't start your business until you've done 90 days of consistent inputs. Okay, so 90 days, at least 3 months, you should do consistent outreach before you think about changing anything. Because as I said, it will compound and it will show up after time, but not immediately. Okay, and really important, like I'm jumping to like another topic now, but this topic is also really tightly connected to like this one. It's only about the inputs you do, not about the outcomes. Because as I mentioned, the only thing you can see and you can do is you can put in the effort consistently for the 60, 90, 100 days. But you cannot change anything about the outcome. Okay, so you have only control about the input you do, and the outcome, you don't even know what's happening here because it's invisible, right? So the input is inside your control. You can control if you do the cold calls, if you do the outreach, if you show up in the sales meetings, whatever, but you cannot control the output. The output is outside of your control. You don't have any control. Even if you do like 500 cold calls, it's out of your control if somebody books a call or if somebody shows up to the call. Okay, so really important that you make sure that you only focus on your inputs, that you be consistent with your inputs, with the cold calls, with everything, but do not care about the outcome, because the outcome is something beyond your control and you just cannot control it. Okay, and this is like the last thing I want to talk about, is like the feedback loop. And at the end, you will see that everything is tightly connected. Okay, so the feedback loop means that you put in an action. Okay, and in the beginning, you just put things in. You just do the cold calls, build your offer, you just have sales calls, and you just do things, and you just put things into the business without getting anything back. You see, you just put in much work, but there's nothing coming back for you. Okay. And with time, after you hit like the zone here, right? So in the beginning, you are like in this zone. So you just see the inputs, you just put things in, but you don't get anything back right here. And then at some point, you start to get something back. You get feedback. Okay. Either it's like calls booked or like replies, whatever, but at least you get something back and it's visible for you. Okay. So at this point, you get something back, and what you get back, the output, compounds into the input again. So you are motivated to do more outreach. You get maybe even like great feedback. So for example, they reply to a message and say something like, hey, not interested because we don't need like new leads. We need like new employees, blah, blah, blah. And then you have output that you can use like feedback in order to make your services better. Okay, so the output you get, first of all, motivates you to do more and also gives you more knowledge and insights on what to change. Okay, and here again, everything is connected. It's just about putting in the inputs without getting results for long enough until this feedback loop enables and until you get something back, which then compounds in order to do more input and then get better outputs. So it's like an upward spiral at the end of the day. Okay, and this is how this could look like in like a real example. Okay. So in the beginning, you do outreach, you put in much effort, but get nothing back, as you see. And with time, after you hit like after you are out of like the frustration zone and the results become visible, then it looks like this. Okay, so you get replies. The replies, first of all, motivate you to do more because then you see, okay, it is some kind of working. I just have to do more in order to get more replies. At one point, you start to get bookings. So then you see like, okay, what I do is actually working and people like what I'm doing. They want to hop on a call with me. So you are motivated to do more outreach. You have more confidence when doing outreach, and you maybe have changed something about the outreach to get the bookings. So not only that you do more outreach, but you also get better at outreach and you be more confident. So it not only stacks up, but it also compounds, right? So you get like better results with every cold call you do after you got the first feedback from it. Okay. And then eventually you get your first client. So then you actually know what did you do in order to close those clients. So you can reproduce the process for like all the new outreaches you do. You are more confident, you now have case studies, blah, blah, blah. And the last thing is like you get results for the client, for example. So you have testimonials. And this not only gives you the confidence, but this only compounds in the biggest way possible because now you can use the testimonials to book more calls because now you have social proof to show in the outreach. Okay, hope everyone understood like this whole concept here. I tried to put everything into like one big concept, but it's really important to understand the different things here in order to understand how everything works and in order to put everything together. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the video and we talk soon.